When I first started doing stand-up, all I did were milk jokes. Why? I gave myself a writing exercise where I picked a random word and tried to find things that were funny about that word in 3 minutes. The word that I picked was milk. After a few minutes of deciding that there's nothing funny about milk, I found one joke that made me laugh. And then another, and another, and another, until all I could write were milk jokes. For the first few months of doing stand-up, all I had were jokes about milk. 10 minutes of milk. That's too many milk jokes. You know how when you buy a new car, you didn't notice that car before, but then you buy the car, and all you can see is that car? That was me with milk. I would see billboards everywhere. Anytime I tried to write another joke, it would always go back to milk. I even tried to talk to my friends about it. Couldn't do that either. You just need to leave milk in the past. Let bygones be bygones. Don't worry about milk ever again. So you're telling me not to cry over spilled milk. You guys remember the video game Tetris, right? Yeah, remember after you played it over and over and over again, all you could see in real life were places where the blocks would fit. And you just imagine giant blocks falling down from the sky and going into those slots. Or if you played Assassin's Creed long enough, all you could think about when you saw a church is how to climb to the top and then jump off into a haystack. Or like after playing the video game Hitman and you're walking down the sidewalk behind somebody, you just want to sneak up behind them and murder them. Right? This is because repeated action and thinking triggers a physical process in our brains called a cognitive after image, where new neural pathways are created that warp the way we view real life situations. So our brains easily get stuck in patterns of viewing the world, and some of those patterns more beneficial than others. In society today, we're rewarded for noticing problems, righting injustices, and finding stresses, which is great. We need to do that. But because of this, our brains are trained to look for those things, and we miss out on the positives. If you're focused on what's wrong, avoiding what's wrong, and getting rid of what's wrong, it makes sense that it's hard to focus on what's positive and creating more of that. Don't think about coronavirus. Stop thinking about coronavirus. Let's get rid of coronavirus. What are we focusing on? Every single second, our brains are processing 11 million bits of information. Now that would drive you crazy if you actually were cognizant of all of these bits of information. So instead, our brains consciously process 40 to 50 bits of information, which is why there are some people who, when they walk into a room, can suck all the sunshine out of it. When we constantly scan the world for the negative, we are doing 5 things that hurt us. Number 1, we undercut our own creativity. Number 2, we raise our stress levels. Number 3, we lower our motivation and ability to accomplish goals. Number 4, it makes us far more likely to be depressed, stressed, and have poor physical health. And number 5, hurts our relationships. It's how one person can see the coronavirus quarantine and think this is terrible. And how I can look at it and think, I can make videos. This is a beautiful painting. You probably wouldn't think this is a beautiful painting if you know that Hitler painted it. Just as our brains can be wired to hold us back, we can also retrain them to scan for the good. Shawn Achor calls this a positive Tetris effect, where we train our brains to scan the world for opportunities and ideas that allow our success rate to grow. When you stop watching this video, instead of reading articles that drive you crazy, that stress you out, that make you focus on what's going wrong in the world, find the people who are bringing good into a bad situation. There is a group in Cleveland right now called Cleveland Family Meal that are preparing boxes and bags of food to put food on the table for people who might not necessarily be able to afford it now that they're out of work. So train your brain to find things like that in the world, and before you know it, you'll stop trying to climb churches or shove blocks into places where they don't fit or murder people. Don't do that. But instead, bring good into the world by finding the good that's already there.